Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Inner Life 101 video. Excuse me. Um, Here we have our friendly neighborhood or our horrid neighborhood cult leader, Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, aka Father Tahuti, aka it goes on and on. Tonight, he's not acting like the Messiah. He's acting like a man who has been brought to his senses by a woman. A woman who he says don't have intelligence. He said women don't have intelligence. Anyways, the reason for this video is that once again, Nature Boy is stealing. He's stealing. Nature Boy has stowed, or he is, let's say, stealing credit for my information. He's stealing credit for the years of teaching and the years of study that I have done and giving it to Eliana. So let's hear this mess. Let's hear what he has to say.
And
Yes.
and another thing I want to say is, she told me that what I was dealing with was lust. I didn't think it was lust, but it was lust. I I don't. My mind did not look at it that way, but
Mhm.
that's what it was. It was lust, which is a deadly sin. And I I I I was basically justifying it through tribal living.
Mhm.
But what it was me having wanting a family, just wanting a big family, wanting love around me, and just trying to
Mhm.
create that my own self. You feel what I'm saying? And it was
Yeah.
like mama issues, not having a family growing up. It stemmed from that. So I wanted to be in control of making a big family. You know what I'm saying? And she she just basically broke all this stuff down, and I'm like, wow, like I'm on the phone crying, like I'm having a breakdown. And meanwhile, people having all these rumors, they're talking, and
Yes.
it's crazy because I'm listening to what y'all saying, but what's happening behind the scenes is something totally different. And
Wow.
you would never think that this kind of wisdom would come through this woman, this this God, like she's
Mhm.
amazing. Like
Okay, guys, I gotta end it right there. Excuse me, my voice is messed up this morning, but I want you to see now. Some of you, and it's only a few of you, have seen my videos on Eligio um, on this channel because I just started the channel, so I haven't had a chance to promote it or anything. And I've only been getting, you know, some videos out a little bit, but I've been real busy. So the whole thing is that did not come out of that woman. She may have spoke to you about lust, but she don't have any knowledge of who, I'll say, she doesn't have any knowledge about foster children, people like him that's been abandoned by his parents, or he sees it as being abandoned by his parents. Uh, she has no knowledge of that. That information comes to someone who has been studying um, themselves. This is the study of self. And someone who has been working on themselves for many years, who has been teaching for many years, and who has been given wisdom because of all of that. There's levels to this. And that kind of wisdom does not come to a 21-year-old who storms out of the room and get angry because she can't express herself. She don't know how to find a way. She goes and run from one country to another because she's angry with her boyfriend. That doesn't come to those kind of people because her ego is still in the way. You see, someone who has been delivered or been freed of their um, ego, in at least in that respect, would not run out of the room because they're angry. So let me show you where I had been DMing him. And I DM'd him about his mother issues, as he put it. I basically the DM was pretty short, the one that I found. So, but the biggest part shows me that he is, the biggest part of his conversation shows me that he is looking at, either he had to see my video. He had to see the video because I'm the only one has changed this around. And then the thing is, I noticed that when Eliana left, I mean Velvet left, we were the videos changed. So it was me and another young man who got out and started teaching about the teaching that we were debunking his teaching. And he commented on it in one of his lives. He was saying, I don't know if it was a live, it might have been an interview or something. Excuse me. He commented on it and said that that we were starting to go against his teaching, and so he had noticed that. So, anyways, let me show you the DM, and I hope this comes out right because it is. I had to turn the camera to see it. Anyways, on September the 28th at 5:26 p.m., this is 2019, I replied to one of his videos, and I said, and what he was doing in the video, he was speaking about one of his exes. One of his exes would always, he said one of his exes would always tell him that he was collecting people, and how he always do that. And she was wondering why he always do that. And he was laughing about and how he collect people. So I made a video about why he collect people. I had already been putting uh, the information about the symptoms that a person has when their parents, when they feel abandoned by their parents or they are abandoned, and if they grew up in foster homes and adopted homes. So, anyways, I told him, I said, he was saying he didn't understand. I'm saying, I understand. You collect people. You have to forgive me because I can barely see this screen in front of this, using a phone to record from the other device. So I said, I understand. You collect people because deep down you're trying to create the family you felt you never had. This is typical for children raised in foster homes. Feeling feeling no one wants you because you are bad. Work on yourself and stop running from it. I should not have to tell you this. You have the tools, use them. Then maybe you will learn to stop hurting people. Now that was my response to his video and to um, his ideas of being told that he's collecting people. So now I have let me show you the put video or a part of the video that part of the video that I put out about that, and you see where I get it, and I guarantee you,
sex,
the
him being
Velvet has never come up with this
his
kind of
being overly sex.
Velvet has never come up with this kind of information. And I don't want to take credit. I don't It's not like I need credit or anything, but some things do come out of you, out of the human, out of your wisdom. Some things do come by you. In the in the know thyself teaching, you learn to get to know. You get wisdom. You get wisdom that comes from you specifically, because of your studies and everything and the things that you experience with other people. She would have to know something about um, adopted people and experimented with them. Not experimented, I'll say she has to study them. She have to have been around them a lot more than just him. You don't just go and be with one narcissist and who has been abandoned by his family or feel that he's been abandoned and then be able to tell him why he's that way. She's not that far into the knowledge. I've 3 years of his chopping up the knowledge. He doesn't have it. So if he's supposed to be the Messiah, how does she come up with it? She's not the Messiah. He's been suppressing her for many years. Then all of a sudden she goes away, and then come back with all this great knowledge. Let's listen to this. It's not a matter of my wanting to be known for this or something, and it's my knowledge. Let's face it. But the thing is that he said that I think it was the Paragon tribe, who's out there, the new tribe that's out there in the woods and in the forest, and they're trying to live in the forest and everything, and they're living outside basically. They don't have luxury of doors. So and they're out building things and all kinds of stuff. So and he's not doing that, so he goes and says, he gets online and says they didn't give him credit. They're going to really their labors are going to be fruitless, and they're not going to do this, and they're not nothing is going to good come to them because they did not give him credit for him him inspiring them basically. And then here it is, he takes my information and gives it to her. Now, like I said, that DM was a short DM, but in my videos, I really go into the details of what the symptoms are that a person who has been abandoned experience. So and you'll hear it. It's right here.
Eligio teeth is just as yellow as he wanted. Um, this guy is just really lost. He's, his being overly sexed, him being, was something else I noticed early about him doing a lot of things, and like I say, him collecting people basically is because he's looking for a family. He wants to create his own family. And like I said before in the other videos, that he's he has abandonment issues from being abandoned as a child, whether his mother died or not. These children usually, when they grow up in foster care or even being adopted, they tend to get angry with the world, and they don't want to be in the world. They don't want to be around people. They don't want to be around their own family, is what it is. So the family that didn't come and get them and rescue them, they ostracize them hatefully. And they become very hateful too. They become very angry, very deceptive, very hateful. They will stab you in the back. They'll always be trying to harm you in behind your back. They will always do that. So far as their family is concerned, once they create it, I don't. Well, they really don't change too much. They really don't. They stay the same when it comes down to that. Um, Always trying to harm you in some way, and I mean, not necessarily harm by, you know, knives or guns or anything, but sneaky little things that they do and say. They would always be trying to harm you, and they're just stuck in the sickness of being abandoned. And so they usually try to develop their own families. And he is a textbook case, but he has went so far beyond what other people have done. You know, other people they what they'll do is try to get the family they want to create. Let's say, well, a lot of them also will, like if they had other siblings that went into the foster care with them, they get split up. Then they later on get together, and then that's their family. They stay with those people and not. I mean, they might visit their own family because they're looking to know their own, especially if they went in young. They're looking to know where they came from, but for the most part, they will not stay around their families, their birth families, and they will branch out. And they might, like I said, the siblings will go together, but they won't associate with the birth family, the ones that didn't come and get them. And they don't care if you were 2 years old and you didn't come and get them. They still will have a dislike for you or disdain for you and don't want to be around you. So that is what he's exhibiting. He's just want to develop his own family, and that's this guy is. He wants a huge family, and it's also he probably have his sexual needing to conquer every sexual.
Okay, so you tell me now, could Velvet come up with that kind of wisdom? You see, the difference between someone that has been living the know thy teaching um, for many, many years and teaching it and living it more than, I mean, just than someone 2 years and 3 years into this information. Um, the difference between us would be the wisdom, would be the wisdom. So where would um, Velvet get all that information from? That's something that you learn because it's called Know Thyself Teaching. I'm just using that because this community knows this information by that label. You know, where would she even get the background to have that? She's never spoke of that background before. You have to have the background of dealing with someone or more people on that level. You know, the thing about them, these guys, I mean, these people that felt they were abandoned and everything, they they're also very manipulative. They can even convince you that you didn't have family. And you can grow up with the largest family you ever had, but your family is just not, it's not big enough, it's not loving enough, it's not anything because they want you. They want to make you a part of their family. So I can say to Mr. Eligio Bishop, who wants to be called chief, and You're not my chief. You're not all these other people, chief. You can only demand that of people who follow you. Um, and I want to say to you that you're not, um, you're not the one. You're not the one that, I wanted to say right there also that all these labels is an absolute sign, excuse me, that he is tampering. It's not tampering. What it is these labels is that he is not into the knowledge like he says he is. He's not into the teaching like he says he is because he's not studying it. He's not living from it. He, like I said in my other videos, he got a glimpse of what it was like to have this teaching, and then he ran with it. He decided, oh wow, this is amazing. I'm going to teach this. I'm going to live. I'm gonna teach this. So that's what he did and what she's doing now. She's a little bit different because he's been suppressing her, so she didn't get a chance to really get out and teach like she wanted to. And but you don't come by this knowledge in 2 years. I'm not sure if I this is early in the morning. I might have got off my train of thought on that, but you don't come by this teaching and this wisdom that comes from the teaching in 2 years. You don't even gather this kind of stuff in 2 years. So it's a lot of, because once you get to know yourself, that's when you start to know other people. And anyone who is, like I said before, someone who is running out of the room will run out of the country just because they cannot be heard, is allowing other people to dictate how they feel, and therefore um, she has no grasp on you know what she needs. So and how to um, not demand, not place demands on people. So she cannot have this kind of knowledge. This wisdom comes from years of work, not 2 years or 3 years of work. It just doesn't. You don't run across country to another country because you're angry with your boyfriend. The knowledge is much more powerful than that. So I like to say, Eligio, you know, you're welcome to the knowledge, but like you wanted those people to um, acknowledge it. You know what? I don't even want to be acknowledged for it. You know, I don't even, but he does that. He takes other people's stuff and then won't even say that, oh, I was watching a video the other day, or I heard somebody else say the other day. Now, mind you, in a little way, in a small way, he did kind of pointed to us. He threw it in there. He was talking about it, the abandonment stuff, and then he throws in that, I do listen to y'all, and then I talk to y'all, and I was, behind the scenes. So he kind of threw in the fact that he listened to us, and then he moved on, but he gave her the credit for this teaching, for this information that somehow changed his life. I didn't change his life. She didn't change his life. What changed his life is giving him the seed, the information that I know of, and then he was able to use the tools that he has somewhere over there and somewhere inside of him. He was able to look at it, and he was able, and once you look at it, and because it's the truth, it can't help but to change him. So it's the truth that changed him. And somehow he finally got to the point. Well, he was always looking for his reasoning. Actually, he wasn't always looking for it, but once it started coming around, like he had that guy that was in the spoken word, he came around. So he was getting these experiences of people coming around with this kind of information or something touching. So the universe was reaching out to him to hear his, to get to know himself, to get to know what happened to him, you know, and that's where he should have started in the first place. When he first discovered the Know Thyself teaching 5 years, 6 years ago, the very first thing is he should have locked up in a room somewhere and thought about how he's been feeling about being losing his mother and his father. That's the first thing he should have done. And after all these years, he goes in to where he's Messiah and all this other, he's the messenger for all black people and they all should come down to, between Capricorn and Cancer with him. Before he went through all of that, he should have taught himself in the beginning. And that's why I know he has not been doing that. And hopefully he will now. You know, Velvet's not going to change that. She has some wisdom, true enough. She's a smart lady, but she's not going to change how he is. But the truth will if he's accepting of it. He's been very resistant. He's been extremely resistant. So hopefully, maybe something changed. I mean, he does seem humbled. He does not seem, if you paid attention in that interview, you will find that he was not that, he was still controlling and he's very talkative. And I don't like calling them sicknesses and illnesses and stuff like that, but that's what the world calls it. So I call it that. And, he's still exhibiting another kind of illness. He's exhibiting with his talkativeness. He can't allow someone else to have a word. So, and that usually is a sign of something else as well. So, but anyways, I just want to say that no, Velvet didn't come up with that idea. If she did, she didn't look like she's very stone faced, but she didn't look like she was accepting it as he was telling her. She was accepting the lust thing. You can kind of see, how she was agreeing with him on that, but when he was talking about the childhood thing, the abandonment issues, she didn't look like she was accepting that. But I can tell you also that with this knowledge or this wisdom, most psychology majors, most psychologists who has been around for 20 years has not come to the conclusion of what I have said in this video. They don't know that. That came from me, okay? And I give it freely, but for him to do it the way he did it, that's what made me have to speak up. It's not it's not it's not fair. We're not talking about someone going into the woods like this other tribe and not giving him credit for inspiring him, because there has been, he's not the only one that went in the woods. He's not the only black man that decided that he's going to go out and live in the woods, okay, and then take other people with him. He's not the only one. Sometimes it's called camping, but some people stay longer. They do. But people with this information, they don't come around very often. Anyways, thank you for listening. I will see you in the next video. Peace and blessings.